Barry. It's such a pleasure to speak with you. Huge fan of your work, and I love Sleepers. You had obviously worked with Kevin Bacon on Diner, but he's truly fearful and sinister in Sleepers. What made you think of him for this role? It was such a genius stroke of casting.
Um, I, I mean, I knew that he was really talented, and I thought he could be interesting in this. Yes, and he did, Diner, and that was one type of character, but I always thought he had a wider range. And so when I was actually working on the script, I was thinking, well, maybe he could play something like this, and so it worked out.
Yeah, we got a whole different range of performances
That's for sure.
after this. I think Sleepers really awakened that's for other people. And when Sleepers did come out, there was a controversy about how much was true about it, and it's even referenced in the text at the end of the film. I think decades removed, we can all enjoy the film as the great piece of art as it is. But what were your thoughts on that becoming an issue? Because it seemed like they were ignoring what was important about it and just arguing over, if it was true or not.
No, I agree. I mean, uh, it would been probably been better if it just didn't say based on a true story or any of those things. It's not like saying it is a true everything's a true story. It was based on, and 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 the story was worthwhile to tell, and it has all the complications to it, and you can ultimately, you know, see it this way, that way, whatever. I mean, it's certainly open for people to be talking about, which is one of the aspects of when you're making a movie. And so I thought it was valid in the story that we were telling. So I don't if that's clear enough in that regard.
Yeah, for sure. And revisiting this film, it just got a great 4K release. I was interested about the use of narration because narration can be very divisive in films, and I thought Sleepers does it so well, and it's a central part of the film, especially early on. We learn so much from it, and it adds character. What's the key to doing narration right?
Well, in this case, it's the story is being told, so as opposed to it's laid out that he's telling the story of this is what happened, when I was younger. So it was valid to the form. And then what you'd always, wonder about is that you don't want to overstate things too much and you don't want to talk too often and you don't want to be too busy throughout the film. And what's the balance that you can come up with that you think serves the purpose of storytelling and the nature of, the film itself?
And I wanted to get your thoughts on the ending because we see them celebrate, but we also get this epilogue, that shows some violent ends for these people, and it shows that these choices do have an impact down the line. Can you speak to that choice and avoiding a sort of cliched feel-good ending where they all lived happily ever and all turned their lives around, and instead getting a more realistic view?
Right. Um, I don't know. It just seemed appropriate. Uh, it's like it's one of those things when you're doing, there's the novel, and then I did the screenplay, and to be honest with you, as time has gone by, I can't remember what was in the book and what was, what was added that I wrote. So it's all a bit of a blur, which is not important as to who did what. But it was, I believe, important to say this is what happened in the end. No, there isn't a happy ending in that regard, and but it seemed appropriate to the film and seemed consistent with the storytelling in general.
And my last question for you, Barry, you've worked with Robert De Niro so many times. What did you like most about this priest role? Because he still has that street smart quality to him, which I really like.
What I liked about it is that he was as that it's a street priest. He grew up on the streets, and he understands that world. He understands also, the religious aspects of it. So I like that quality. and he's an understated character. I thought Bob did a great job. He's not some kind of bombastic way and fighting for this. There's a quietness about him and a certain quiet dignity about his performance that I thought was very valuable in portraying the priest.
Barry, thank you so much for your time today, and congrats on this film. It's really stood the test of times. It's still great.
I appreciate
Thanks.
that. Thank you.